check out Cajun Lights, your complete dog hunting outfitter. Tracking equipment, leashes, collars, dog supplies, and much, much more. You can find it all at CajunLights.com. And don't forget their outstanding lineup of lights. You can find it all at CajunLights.com. Elite nutrition products are the hottest thing on the market right now for dog and horse owners. And Houndsman XP is a dealer. You can find all their products on our website at houndsmanxp.com. Over the past 5 years, you've tuned into this podcast, and I don't take it lightly. We have built a mutual trust. And when I recommend a product, it's because I believe in it, I use it, and I'm given my seal of approval for that. I'm putting my name on that. And with Elite Nutrition products, I do trust it. I do use it. I've seen great results with their essential dogs, their pre and probiotics, their tick-borne disease treatment. It's all natural. It's a great alternative to pharmaceuticals when used appropriately. If you expect extreme performance, you need Elite Nutrition. Available from houndsmanxp.com.
And I come up with this little rise there, and there's this quack, quack, quack. You hear the ducks. And there's a priest out there feeding these ducks with bread. And, I mean, I learned a lot about Goshawks from what happened next. But when the bird heard that, the quacking, I'm a long way from him. It just stopped eating, and it gripped my hand, and I knew he was there. She was interested. So, and it's getting close to dark. And that bird is looking over there. So I said, well, if it wants to go, I'll let it go. And it drops off the fist and opens its wing about 2 feet from the ground and goes the opposite way.
Hey, how's it going, everyone? Welcome back for another episode of the Falconry Chronicles podcast. And this is an episode I've just kind of had on the shelf for a while and really hadn't had a good time to release it. Really just kind of got through all my backlog recently, though. I'm kind of week to week, and since this was something that I recorded actually end of last season, the very last meet of the falconry season last season is when I recorded this at our Terre Haute meet that we end the season on pretty much every year. It was requested by some of the Indiana Falconers Association members that I do this recording with Mike while we were there, because he's another guy that's been around for a very long time and saw kind of the early days of falconry here in the U.S. and saw the formation of our state club and NAFA, and it was just requested that I get his story down on record and his take on some of those experiences and other stuff. So anyway, I hope you enjoy this. It's probably going to be another episode that you find some interesting stuff about, and we'll just jump right in, as always. So here we go. I know Mark and some of the other IFA members are wanting to get you on record again, and because, as we all know, some of the old guard is not around so much anymore.
Yeah.
And so I mean, basically they want to get you on record again and want to have another conversation with you before, it gets too much further into time and everything. And so that being said, remind me again how many years you've been doing this?
What are you talking about?
Falconry.
Falconry. I
Yep.
stopped flying birds in 1987.
So from about what year to what year did you fly?
87, I give it up.
Yeah.
I can't remember when the hell I started.
Was it before, like way before all the rules and regs and everything were in place?
Yeah.
So basically, when exactly, like, how did you discover falconry? Was it, something that you saw somebody else doing?
I was in high school.
Okay.
And I had a teacher. It was a Catholic high school. And I had a teacher. He was a brother, teaching brother. And he had birds of prey. And he flunked me in every class I had with him. because all I wanted to do was talk, about birds. And he got me into it. And after I got out of high school, we became real good friends. And he used to be a member of this club. And
What was the name?
Brother Edwin Mattingly.
Okay. I think I remember reading vaguely something about that whenever there was a write-up about some of the club history and stuff in one of our Rousing News articles or something like that. But how old were you right about that time?
Well, high school.
Yeah.
17, 18, something like that.
Didn't know if it was like younger high school, later high school,
Well, I knew him all the way through it, all the way through high school, yeah. He's a great guy. Went in a canoe all the way from the beginning of the Mississippi River all the way down to the Gulf of Mexico.
That's a ways.
He was a hell of a man, yeah.
You'd have to be a heck of a heck of a guy to be that brave. That's a long way, man.
Well, he used to go up in Minnesota, I guess.
Yeah. Well, and so whenever you weren't any younger than that before you even heard of falconry or anything?
Well, I was into birds of prey,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't know anything about falconry. And then I had a buddy who used to be a member of this, Jim Mills, and we got in it together.
And you were both about the same age at that time?
He's gone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We were both in high school.
Okay.
Went to different high schools together.
So he didn't get flunked by the same person?
He was smart as hell. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, well, like I said, everybody's different as far as whether or not their aptitude for that kind of stuff is. I know there's a lot of falconers that I've talked to over the years that have kind of had the same, introductory story in that regard. They just didn't have an interest in school and just, all they really wanted to do was be outside and be around all this stuff. So
yeah, that's about it. Yeah.
Yeah. So whenever you initially discovered falconry and discovered it was something that, people can do and everything, did you start off in a conventional way like a lot of people do nowadays, or kind of required to do nowadays? Start off with a red tail? Or
that was before anybody knew about it.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it was a OJT type of thing, on the job training, and we made a lot of mistakes and what have you, and trapped a red tail and trained it and hunted with it and had a lot of fun with it.
And so whenever you got into it, then people already knew by that point that red tails were good falconry birds and stuff. I mean, I've been talked to guys that got into it before even red tails were being commonly used, in falconry and stuff. So
what'd they fly?
It was a lot of the older, like, first going into second generation falconer guys, like that in Pennsylvania and stuff, that they were still flying mostly like, your long wings and things like that. And not, there was still a lot of people around that time that weren't necessarily catching a lot of game, but they were flying birds, that kind of thing.
Remember any names?
Well, yeah, I've done like 155 of these.
Never mind.
So, I would have to sit here and think for a few minutes which exactly those people were. But, anyway, but moral of the story, though, is you started off with, red tail and stuff.
Yeah, that's all we had game for.
Yeah.
And even today, I don't know why anybody would have a falcon in Indiana. What are you going to hunt with it?
Well, yeah, I mean, I've kind of gone back and forth with that myself. I mean, I've tried flying a couple also, and had I known and seen some of the things that I've gotten to see now, my approach definitely would have been different. But, having now seen other guys like in Mexico and other parts of the country and stuff, like, fly long wings on snipe and things like that, like, I'm not going to sit here and say it would be easy by any stretch, but but I think that in some of the marshier, like open, ag fields that we stuff here and everything, it could feasibly be done if you know that you're
out
with
west,
that kind of stuff. But
it's a thing to do.
Yeah, but around here, I think that things like dove, snipe, things like that, it wouldn't be easy. But I mean, you could possibly pull it off if you had a handful of nice fields for that kind of thing. But either way, neither here nor there. But I agree with you. I mean, we obviously, it goes without saying, rabbits, squirrels, that kind of stuff is definitely what we have most here.
Yeah.
So yeah, and it is hard to beat a red tail for that, obviously.
No, it's easy to beat a red tail.
Well,
fly a goshawk.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's a whole other conversation entirely there too.
Well,
so you're a goshawk guy then?
oh yeah.
Yeah. When did you get bit by the goshawk bug?
You're looking for dates?
Rough time frame.
After I had maybe 3 red tails.
Yeah.
Took game with them.
So, like, how many years were you into falconry roughly by that point? Do you think that you got bit by that bug? Rough guess.
10.
10? Okay.
Yeah.
And whenever you got into goshawks, did you pull one, raise it as an eyes yourself, all that kind of stuff? Or?
We went out and trapped. That's what I ended up doing. And I recommend, see, these today, we do banding.
Mm-hmm.
I banned, or I did, till COVID, but banned 300-400 birds a year. And we catch a goss, train it. And
where did you do that mostly?
the banding,
Mm-hmm.
Wisconsin, Duluth when we first started, and Whitefish Point, Michigan. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, no, I didn't know how far you had to go for that. I mean, I know guys that do banding and other stuff in other states, but I wasn't sure if you did more, around the Great Lakes area still or whatever.
Well, it's so difficult now to be a falconer because they have so many rules and regulations. When we wanted the bird, we'd drive up to Michigan, go to a DNR office and ask if there was any goshawks around, and they'd say, yeah, and take us out there, and we'd go get a bird, and that was the end of it. But now it's different. You can't do that.
It's interesting that you have that perspective, though, because I think there's a ton of people that I've talked to also, and especially like, more of the current generation, like of falconers, it's to a lot of people, actually, it seems like it's becoming easier to actually become a falconer. It is easier to like get, pretty much whatever type of bird that you want. But you're correct in that if you want certain types of, passage birds, especially goshawks and things like that, they're starting to kind of be, Yeah,
but you can't find them anymore.
Yeah.
You get the highest birds, or somebody breeding them or what have you.
Sure.
Yeah.
A passage goshawk's probably never going to be in my wheelhouse, but I mean, I know of people that love to trap them in parts of like Idaho and other areas and stuff like that too. But anyway,
shoots.
Yeah. What's the farthest you've ever gone to trap a goshawk or any kind of bird that you wanted to fly, roughly?
Well, I did more of it for the banding end of it than. But the furthest I've ever gone to band is probably Duluth.
Yeah.
Duluth and then Wisconsin and Michigan, that kind of stuff. So,
yeah. Well, and so at what point in time then, roughly, I know this is kind of, what came first for you? I know that there's been mention of your involvement in, of course, our state club, your kind of involvement in NAFA, so on and so forth. Which one was the chicken and the egg, and like which kind of came first for you?
Well, I think NAFA came first, and then they started a club here, and yeah, I guess what do you call that when you're first ones to do it?
Well, I don't know, whatever. You're part of the
charter member. That's what they call it.
You're part of the origin story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In Indiana.
And which other guys helped start it with you?
Well, I didn't have a whole lot to do with it, but there's one guy, I can't remember his name. He's the one that started. They probably have information on that, but Greg Thomas, Jim Mills, Don Anderson. There was only about 10 of us.
Yeah.
Bob Little.
So, like, pretty much whenever you started in those early days with the club, I mean, talk a little bit more about that experience. And I know you said you didn't really have a whole lot to do with that per se, but one of the things that I do like to talk about, though, whenever we talk about certain things like this is how time consuming it was, how hard it was for the people involved to get it started and going and everything, because there's a lot of people, especially younger falconers coming up today that don't have an appreciation, or not necessarily appreciation, but an understanding of what all goes into that and how hard it is and time consuming and stuff. So
the way I would say something about that would be get involved, do something and you're going to find out. But if you just come to the meets and you don't do anything, and when you come to the meets and, oh, my bird's too high or my bird's too low, you're a bird keeper. If you're not out hunting with a hawk, and remember, one thing I always remembered that Brother Ed told me about this. He said, if you got a bird of prey, you have an obligation to that bird. And if it dies, it's your fault. No ifs, ands, or buts, it's your fault. And if you stop and analyze that and think about it, it's right on the money. Now, there's people who have contributed to the falconry that are not good falconers. By that, I mean they're not out catching game. That's what it's all about. And that doesn't mean they can't contribute. They do. Stan Marcus, I think he was one of the people from Michigan that was a charter member of NAFA. One of the smartest people I ever met. Couldn't get around, and he didn't catch much game.
Yeah.
But he sure made a big contribution to the...
Well, and kind of like what I mentioned earlier, I mean, there was a lot of people that in the beginning stages of the sport in our country that, they did a lot of work and a lot of legwork to get a lot of that stuff going. But in the early days, kind of in general, there were a lot of people flying birds and stuff. They weren't really actively catching game, though, just because of the nature of how things were at that point.
Well, it's on the job training,
at that, especially at that time. Yeah,
exactly. There was no rules or regulations, and
a lot of self-teaching.
That's all changed now. Of course, that's life. Everything changes.
Sure. Well, and so, in all the years that you flew birds, I mean, you've already stated, of course, that you're another, one of those goshawk guys, that loves goshawks and everything. But what were a couple of your other, I mean, aside from, of course, the red tails, I mean, what other species did you fly, and which ones did you like the most other than goshawks?
Well, I flew Cooper's hawk. I just wasn't any good with it, It's either flying off and you don't see it again, or hanging from your face, and I didn't need that. So, it's just, no, goshawk was it. Once I flew a goss, I never went back to red tails. Yeah. Not that there's anything wrong with them. It's just that it's a whole different ballgame. That's another thing. There's a lot of people who fly Harris hawks. I never flew one. But I never met anybody that flew a Harris hawk that didn't love it. So I just never did it.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people that are like that too. And,
they won't fly anything but a Harris.
Well, yeah, and then conversely, there's a lot of people that I know that that fly goshawks and would rather be caught dead or in other compromising situations than ever be caught flying a Harris hawk too. It just all depends on what you like.
I've never had that attitude, but there's people who, love red tails. I mean, the Germans, we used to get birds and send them over there. That's when it was all legal. Mm-hmm. And they'd give you 2 goshawks for a red tail.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're goshawks over there like red tails over here as far as that goes. I mean, it's
exactly right. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's that old saying, there's red tails get taken for granted a lot just because we have such easy and readily, available access to them. But, as other people that I know have often said, I mean, if red tails were as hard to get or as kind of a commodity in a way as goshawks, well, everybody would want to fly them all the time.
Right. The big thing with goshawks is knowing what you're doing, because you're going to screw the first one up. It's just the way it is. And you can screw up a red tail too, but it's just all different. And once you fly a goshawk, you're hooked.
Yeah. Yeah, like you said, to each their own.
Well, wait till your time comes and you decide.
I did this season. Couldn't get rid of it quick enough.
Really?
It was not enjoyable for me.
What was it, Elias?
No. It was a 3rd or 4th year imprint that I was flying for a friend of mine. Truth be told, probably wasn't the best first situation for a goshawk, but what it told me was, I mean, it did teach me some very valuable lessons, though. I learned that it takes kind of another level of being able to read a bird and, being on your A game as far as your weight management and everything else with them, and being able to really be able to tell what's going on with the bird to get the most out of it. And whereas you could get away with other things with other species, say your red tails, your Harrises and stuff, you wouldn't be able to get away with the same thing with the goshawk and certain things. But
apples and oranges.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But you can't appreciate how apples and oranges they are until you actually
do it.
Have one.
Yeah.
But I've been watching goshawks fly for over a decade now. But until you actually fly one and have one and handle one yourself and have to maintain one and really,
But you had a second or third hand bird.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, so
yeah. It's a different. That's not quite apples or oranges to oranges either. It's in a way, but
because you don't know how the other guy screwed it up.
Well, no, and this particular bird hadn't been flown for a season or two, also. Yeah. So yeah, it was so. But what it told me though was that overall, it's just not. For this stage of my life, with as busy as I am with other things and stuff and everything else, juice isn't worth the squeeze for me personally right now. I understand the appeal. I do. I get it. But I caught about a half dozen rabbits with it, and another friend of mine wanted to fly it, and we both mutually know the same person that the bird came from or whatever and stuff. And so he wanted to take it and fly it, and I was more than happy to let him.
How's he doing with it?
He says it's flying fine. Chase is whatever. I mean, but once again, kind of like you stated, it already kind of had its own things ingrained that wanted to do, didn't want to do, all that kind of stuff. I mean, I like hunting with dogs and stuff also, and didn't really like my dogs or anything. And so, I mean, for what I want to do at this stage of my life, not a good fit for me.
Well, that's good. That's fine. At least you recognize that.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, you know how it is, and you've been doing this long enough, or after a certain amount of time, you start to realize what you can and can't, or what you do and don't want to tolerate.
Well, let me tell you something that I've noticed is falconers today, they don't know how to trap. They buy their birds from a breeder or what have you, but you don't know what you're missing when you don't go out and make your own equipment and go out and trap a red tail or Cooper's hawk or whatever. it's so much fun. It's as much fun as falconry.
Yeah, I mean, there's and everybody finds different little things that they enjoy more than others. I mean, you're not the first person that I've heard that from. But there's a lot of falconers that I know that love and appreciate trapping just as much as hunting and stuff.
Exactly, but there comes a point where you can't get out and do the hawking. You can't do the walking. You can't keep up with the birds or whatever, or you get burned out of it. If you just go out and trap, well, you got to have all the permits and that's, and we banned them now, and it's a hell of a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And because you can't do the other stuff.
Well,
so keep it in mind when your time comes.
Oh, well, I don't have any delusions that I'm going to live long enough to see that.
I didn't. I didn't either, but I'm 88 now.
Yeah, well, yeah, I don't know. I keep the bar and my expectations really like way down there. You know,
that's because you're young.
I'm not exactly a super spring chicken anymore, man.
What are you, 40?
Yeah, 41, I think. I think I am. That's the age that sticks in my mind most days, anyway, from what I remember. But, you know, anyway.
You won't feel it till you get about 60, 62.
Yeah.
And
we'll see what happens.
Do you fish?
Not as much as I'd like.
Do you know how when you get into a boat, you step on the seat and then you step into the boat?
I usually should just be really good at falling out of boats, personally, especially when I was a kid. But
when I was 62, I did just that. It just kept going. And a lot of people on the pier did a lot of laughing.
Yeah, I bet. Trust me, I've been there. Been there.
I mean, I didn't mean to get off the subject.
No, it's fine. Well, that's what makes these conversations fun. There's room for that. But yeah, once again though, going back to like, you know, just I mean, at what point though? I mean, getting back to what we were just alluding to or talking about a little bit. I mean, at what point? I mean, was it in your early 60s ish, that time frame or whatever? Was it even sooner that you realized that I just can't really just do this anymore? I can't hang anymore.
I more or less got burned out. I killed so many rabbits. I'm done with that.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's a lot of people I think that hit that point also. They reach a certain age and think, you know, well, how many more bunnies do I really honestly need to catch? And you know, all that kind of stuff, and other things start taking more of a priority and keeps taking more and more of a backseat. The falconry does, and everything else. But, you know, grandkids come into the picture, you know, so on and so forth. Other aspects of life start to take over more, you know. But
what's really nice now, my grandson, he's sitting over there, he's a sub-permittee under me now, and we trap. It's man, it's great to be able to do that with family.
Mm-hmm.
And my son, him too. Yeah. All three of us can do that. It doesn't get any better than that.
Yeah, no, and I'm somewhat envious of people that have kids or grandkids or whatever that are interested in it and everything, because, you know, I'm one of those people that's got a kid that couldn't care less, you know.
Well, neither one of them became falconers, but they got into the trapping and the banding. Like my grandson caught a haggard peregrine 2019, and 2024 flew into some kind of object in Buenos Aires, Argentina. That's a long way, man. But when you think about it, they go down there all the time. The passage birds,
sure. Mm-hmm.
Or the haggards, and it was all in Spanish, so I didn't have any idea when I got the report.
Yeah, no, that's cool that you were able to see that, though.
It is.
You know, I mean, the GPS data and all the stuff that they can pull on some of
I
these.
never had telemetry. The whole time I practiced falconry, I never had telemetry.
A lot of the old timers didn't.
Something else I never did is fly a bird out of the tree.
Ever?
Well, when the bird wouldn't come down, yeah. But I like to fly with the bird on the fist. First of all, you can see what's going on. You don't have to chase it a half a mile. And if you've never done that, try it. See what you think.
You even did that with the first red tails that you flew and stuff too?
Oh, yeah, always. I had a red tail. I won't tell that story. That I took first place in the NAFA meet with. And
that was back when NAFA still had the competitions for most game caught and everything. Yeah.
What the heck? What's the matter with that? We had falconers come to these meets from all over the world, and we were in competition. What's the matter with that?
I know that there's a lot of stories that I heard from back in the day about the early NAFA meets and some of the things that some people were doing that, like I said, why they stopped doing that, what led to why they stopped doing that and everything. But anyway.
You mean cheating?
Yeah, anytime there's any competition with anything, somebody's going to try and cheat. But there's all kinds of stories that I've heard, but we won't even go into that. But
I was at a NAFA meet in Nebraska, and this guy's flying a gyrfalcon, and it's real close to that. There's a place where the geese would come in. And everybody's, you know how they have those deals where they invite everybody out to watch the sky trials or whatever they call it.
Yeah, they still do those in Utah. Yeah.
And this gyr is way the heck up there. And the geese start coming in, and this gyr just smokes one. And the DNRs there and arrested him.
For why exactly?
Well, I don't know. The season's over or whatever. I'm not sure. But I remember there was a big stink on that. And then talk about chickens. I can't believe they would do something like that.
Yeah, I don't know.
But it's all changed.
I'd have to hear more details about that. But I don't know. Yeah, everybody's got different outlooks on things. I've got plenty of friends that are extremely competitive, and I've talked a lot with other falconers that I know and other mutual friends that I have, and it's funny kind of how certain younger falconers in particular that are just getting into it feel like they need these super high head counts and everything to feel like they've achieved something or whatever. And then as they get older, there's kind of like this natural maturation process that happens to where you realize that it's,
not so important,
not as important, but it's kind of becomes like however many head of game you catch kind of becomes as a natural byproduct of how much you're hunting your bird and stuff, as opposed to I need to catch and limit out every time I go out type of thing.
I never got that far.
So you never really got sucked into that whole mindset. Yeah.
But there's other guys like Don Anderson from here in Indiana who's gone now. He would go out, he'd catch one rabbit. That was it. There's nothing wrong with that.
No.
And, but...
That's what I prefer.
Huh? Do you really?
It's what I prefer anymore. Yeah.
Okay.
Because, you're less like... your spots last longer that way. You tend to... I don't know. For me, I'm just too busy of a person. I've got too many other things to do on a daily basis.
Yeah, I had 3 kids in diapers when I started this.
You were really busy then.
Yeah. Plus I was working. And
what did you do for a living at the time?
I had a sweet job.
Yeah.
Worked for M&M Mars Candy.
Oh, man. So literally and metaphorically.
Yeah.
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 Did they used to have a plant or a distribution center or someplace close to here? Or where did...
I worked South Bend.
Okay, so you're, northern part of the state.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. I couldn't remember what part of the state you were even from.
Yeah, South Bend.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you've lived around there pretty much your whole life? Okay. Well, how then, in the early stages of the IFA, then did you end up meeting a lot of the other? Well, obviously there weren't a lot of other members at the very beginning, but how did you end up linking up with the other guys throughout the state at that point?
Well, we used to have the deals like we're having here now, except we had one up north in South Bend, and that brother, Edwin, I was telling you about, we had hog roast up there. They'd all get falcons that come from everywhere.
Okay. So it wasn't so you basically met a lot of the other guys through him and the other
not through him so much. It's once Indiana became IFA. Yeah, I got it right. Okay. Then I started meeting people from different parts of the state, and just like you did.
Yeah. I like I said, it's a lot easier to connect with people now, though. Obviously, through internet and everything else, and that's why another thing I'm always curious to talk, like especially the older generation guys like yourself, that there wasn't internet, there wasn't anything, it was only snail mail, and
there's still no internet for me. That all passed me by. These guys, they know all that, but if you could do that much in a computer, I'm not about right there.
Yeah.
And it's going down. They're laughing at me now, but it's true. They know.
Trust me, you're not the only person that I've talked to that's said the same thing. So
do you talk to mostly older people too from different places? Or?
Oh, I've had a chance now to talk to all kinds of different age groups all around the world now, thankfully.
Really?
Yeah. So that's part of the enjoyment in this for me is getting a chance to talk to all kinds of different people in all facets of life and figure out how they fit this into their lives and all that kind of good stuff. So, I mean, that's where I learn a lot, and get different perspectives on things, because not everybody obviously comes from the same molds and same backgrounds with stuff. So
not at all.
Yeah.
And
was there any particular type of bird or species or anything that you ever wanted to fly but didn't get a chance to because of where you live, different circumstances, or whatever the case might be?
No, it was a matter of choice, because I've caught just about everything there is. And the only thing only bird of prey I've never caught that I really wanted to was a hawk owl. I've only seen one or two. I mean, I've caught a golden eagle. That's a big deal in this part of the country. And great gray owls. We used to trap at night, and night vision and all that. That's fun. But falconry and banding is two different things for me. And when I got to the point that I couldn't handle the falconry anymore, it was a process. In other words, I just kind of graduated into the trapping, but I had been doing trapping for, the whole time I was flying birds, just not as much as I do now.
Yeah, it's something else I like to ask people, though, because it seems like there's always some kind of forbidden fruit, so to speak, that certain falconers always want to do but never get a chance to, because they either don't live in an area that's good for it, or whatever the case is.
That's true with anybody.
Yeah.
I mean, where you originally from? You keep mentioning Utah, is it?
No. I've pretty much almost always lived in southern Indiana, in Evansville and around that area. But no, I mean, the only reason I mentioned Utah earlier is because of the sky trials and stuff. I just know people that still are involved in that and everything. But I mean, if I know for me, there's still a lot of things that I would like to do, but it's too early for me to say definitely I'll never get to do them. So
yeah,
I don't know. I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah, I had a bucket list, but most of it had nothing to do with falconry.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I tried flying a Passage Peregrine, I just wasn't any good at it. Of course, that takes time.
Well, and once again, kind of like going back to that whole apples and oranges, completely different kind of thing. I mean,
Exactly.
it's its own thing for sure.
Then you got, I knocked this Basset Peregrine out of the air with the lure. It's coming in. That's how good I was at it. And right away, I says, hey, you can't do that. You got to get out of it. And I traded it to a guy that from Illinois, and I think he caught lots of. Well, I got the number of 100 things he caught with it, such as ducks and pheasants. Well, he's got the game for that.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, there's several guys that I know that fly long wings that'll catch metric crap tons of ducks and stuff every season. And of course, a lot of that's taken a somewhat, I mean, there's still a lot of guys that are actively hunting them, but there's a lot of people that have backed off ducks, especially over the last few years.
Why is that?
Avian influenza and all that. You know, there's a lot of guys also that I know that have lost quite a few birds to avian influenza and stuff. So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's been kind of a bad deal the last few years, especially. So,
well, I had some biologists taking blood samples from red tails that we were catching and taking blood samples for checking out West Nile.
Mm-hmm.
And they got the report back, and it was like 72% of these birds had it at the time or had it and recovered from it.
Had showed antibodies and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now it's the bird flu. When I first started, it was aspergillosis. You know, a lot of guys lost birds of that. So.
Well, and once again, going back to the whole club thing, I mean, what are some of your, I don't know, favorite memories or experiences that you have as far as, you know, some of your early days and seeing, you know, either NAFA or the IFA, you know, kind of being involved in, you know, I know you said, like, once again, that you weren't quite as involved with some of the other guys with the formation of it and everything, but what are some more of your fond memories when it comes to the early days of both clubs and kind of being around it?
Going to the NAFA meets was fun, you know, and of course, coming to the meets like this, I'd spent 2 or 3 years since I've been down here, and I would have never been able to do it if they haven't driven me down here. So, and I think that's what the question you asked me, wasn't it?
Well, I mean, it just in general, like, what are some of your favorite memories from being involved in those early years? You know, like whenever it was just getting formed, and I mean, pertaining to NAFA and or the IFA. You know, I mean, I don't know if you have any particular fond memories of your involvement with any of that.
Well, taking first place when it was competitive with a red tail. And then taking first place with a goshawk, that was pretty memorable for me. And and what was really memorable when I took first place with a goshawk, this brother Edwin, he took first place with a red tail. Because we had some good falconers back in the day, and both doing that and being friends, that was nice.
Yeah. And like at the time, then, I mean, were there anybody else that, I mean, aside from him and, you know, maybe a couple of these other guys that you were hunting with and you know, doing this with on a consistent basis? I mean, was there a particular group or small couple of, you know, people or whatever that you were always hunting with? Or?
Yeah, that was Jim Mills. Yeah.
Mainly just him, or?
There wasn't that many of us up there. Now, we have 2 good falconers in the South Bend area that fly Harris hawks, and they breed dachshunds, long-haired dachshunds. Whew.
Yeah,
that's impressive.
Yeah, Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, Bill and
Bill Bowler
yeah,
and Rich Hoof.
yep.
Yeah. Yeah, I did a recording with them not too long ago too.
Did you?
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, it's yeah, they're good dudes. And I also have long-haired dachshunds too, so it's you know how that's an even smaller world.
Yep, sure.
You know? Did you ever get into dogs with falconry at all?
No.
Wasn't for you.
Well, no, it's just I was too busy. You know, I didn't know about it. It's probably a better answer.
Didn't know that it could be like,
Yeah.
you know, an even bigger benefit if you could get it going
Yeah, I
your way.
mean, Bill and Rich, they take these little dogs out in snow. It's 2 feet deep, and they can hardly run, and yet they do very well.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
then these dogs are in really top-notch shape at the end of the season. Then they tell you about the meets that they go to for competition with the.
Yeah, I've done plenty of those field trials and stuff too. Yeah.
I mean, and they just blow everybody away, and of course everybody hates them. The only reason they do that is because they hunt their dogs all season and they're top-notch.
They're in their prime. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, they know the game by that point. Yeah.
Yeah, I know the game. Yeah.
Well, okay. Well, I mean, in general, then, I mean, even it doesn't necessarily have to be pertaining to NAFA or the IFA or whatever, but what are a couple of your more fond hunting experiences, stories? Do you have any particular fond memories of a particular bird that was special to you or anything like that? Or
Yeah, I had a goshawk, and I've been hunting, caught a couple rabbits with it, and it's out at Notre Dame. And because I live in South Bend, and I'm coming back to go to the car, and I'm feeding the bird. And I come up with this little rise there, and there's this whack, whack, whack. You hear the ducks. And there's a priest out there feeding these ducks with bread. And, I mean, I learned a lot about goshawks from what happened next. And there's a bunch of sycamores. What are you laughing about? But when the bird heard that, a quacking, I'm a long way from him. It just stopped eating, and it gripped my hand, you know, and I knew he was there. She was interested. So, and it's getting close to dark. And that bird is looking over there. So I said, well, if it wants to go, I'll let it go. And it drops off the fist and opens its wing about 2 feet from the ground and goes the opposite way towards the lake. And I thought it was going to go up into one of those sycamores. And it goes around us back and forth till it got up there where the ducks were. And the ducks never saw it coming. And right in the middle of this priest, when he was feeding the... And, of course, the ducks busted. And so I go running over there. It's when I could run. And I get over there, and this priest says, he says, that's amazing. He said, I saw that whole thing. He says, that was great. And I says, well, where's my bird? He says, it's out in the lake. So I look at that. I look out there, and yeah, here it is, swimming back towards shore. So I go down there to meet it, turns around, goes the other way. And so I backed off, and the bird comes up on the bank. It's got a coot. Out of all those mallards.
Of course, it would have caught the coot.
Well, no, that was fine. Because this priest says to me, I've been trying to get rid of that bird for 3 years. So he was a buddy then, you know.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
It is, but that's memorable.
Oh, that's awesome. That's super funny. There's like a few friends that I have that joke about coots all the time. They say it's almost negative points if
Well, I'm sure.
to them. If they,
but I never caught that many ducks. I had a goshawk, and it was a fresh trap bird that I had for, I don't know, a month. And I'm driving down the road to go to a rabbit place, and I see these ducks out in the field, and I'm seeing about 10 or 15 of them, and then I look the direction I'm going, and there's a bunch of pines right there at the end of that field where I can get up close to it. So I sneak through those pines and step out into that field. And the gosh is, boom, gone like that. And the whole field comes alive. And there must have been 1,000 ducks. And the gosh is right in the middle of that last I ever saw it. Because it got mixed up in there, probably caught something. I kept going back for days, but I never found it. But it was a passing bird, so.
Well, it got a good feed up, and then when it's way, then Pertaining to just goshawks, then was there anything else upland game wise, or anything else that you would have liked to have gotten a chance to hunt with a goshawk that you didn't get to hunt? Kind of goes in line with the other question I asked you earlier a little bit, but specifically in regards
ducks. I wanted to do that, but you go up in a creek, and by the time you got up there, the ducks are down the creek, the goss is here, and of course, if he goes after them, they're going to dump right back in.
But like upland game wise, or anything out west, whether it be, I don't know.
See, I couldn't travel like that.
Yeah. Well, that's why I'm asking. I didn't know if there was anything that you would have liked to have gotten a chance to.
I would like to gone out and caught a bunch of pheasants out in Iowa. I had a friend out there that I hunted pheasants with, gun hunt.
Yeah, I've got a buddy right now that's been hunting pheasants quite a bit with his goshawk. And that's some cool flights.
The first one I ever caught, I just walking through a field, and this pheasant gets up, and the gosh going real low to the ground and then straight. I'd never seen that before. And I went, holy cow, that's cool.
Yeah.
And
well, and those are a couple of good stories. Thanks for sharing those. The one with the priest is pretty funny. That's that's pretty cool. But I do like to end on one particular note that one thing I usually like ending on, though, is getting a piece of advice from pretty much everybody that I have on, that to either current or prospective falconers, sentiment or a piece of advice that they'd like to leave that's important that they think to pass on, and then we can probably wrap this up.
Okay, well, the only advice I'd have is don't be a bird keeper. At least go out and try. It may not be for you, but you give it your old college try, and it's important that you catch something. Not every time or whatever, and I'm not one of those say you got to go out and kill everything you can, but catch something. You'll feel better about it. And there's a lot of people out there that are bird keepers. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I got you. Well, and I think that has a lot to do, though, with the importance of making sure that the people coming in understand what it's really about.
That and the bird. Do justice to the bird.
Sure.
And remember, if it dies, it's your fault. When you think about it,
if you go far enough, even if it's some outlandish thing that happened or some weird circumstantial thing or whatever, bottom line is sure. If you take it to the degree, we're the one that trapped it, we're the one that took it, whatever. You can always go that far with the logic and rationale if you push it that far.
But get your own bird. Don't depend on somebody to get it for you.
Sure.
because that's important, I think, because you learn so much.
Well, sure, because every bird's so different.
Yeah, and you can learn from other people. And I had a knack for trapping birds, okay? But I couldn't. If I had to make a hood, I couldn't do it if you put a gun to my head.
Oh, me either.
Yeah. I had a friend that he was a member of Indiana Falconers. I can remember his name. Mike Melville. You ever heard of him?
Mm-mm.
He's the one that took SpaceX up into space, and first civilian ever to do that.
Mm.
And he made swivels that are awesome. And he became an astronaut then, and he lives out in California. I did a lot of hawking with him. Look it up on the computer sometime. Mike Mel will tell you the whole story. A lot better than I can.
Well, fair enough. Well, thanks again for doing this. And is there anything else that you want to add before we wrap this up or anything? Any other thoughts or,
No, my pleasure.
Yeah, well, like I said, thanks for doing this. Hopefully it wasn't too painful for you. It's a nice conversation.
You get me talking, I'm fine.
Fair enough. Well, appreciate you again, Mike, and we'll go ahead and get back to the festivities and see what other trouble everybody else has gotten into at this point. All right?
I'm in.